Warm greetings with the high 10. It is Everyday Shenanigans on this Wednesday, July 1st, 2020. I'd like to bring you said information pertaining to a young lady who was a soldier in the military at Fort Hood. And this story was just updated 9:13 p.m. tonight. If you need verification for the storyline, please log on to the New York Times. Arrest is made in connection with missing Fort Hood soldier. A second suspect killed himself on Tuesday, the Army said. The family of PFC, Vanessa Guillen, called for a congressional investigation into her disappearance in April. A woman has been taken into custody in connection with the disappearance of a Fort Hood soldier who has been missing since April, the Army said on Wednesday. A second suspect, identified only as a soldier, took his own life in Killeen, Texas on Tuesday, the Army said. The missing soldier, PFC Vanessa Guillen, 20, was last seen in Fort Hood on April 22nd, according to the Army Criminal Investigation Command. The name of the deceased suspect, whom the Army described as a junior soldier, was not released on Wednesday pending the notification of his family. Chief Charles F. Kimball of the Killeen Police Department said at a news conference on Wednesday that the soldier shot himself as officers approached him on Tuesday. The Army described the woman who was arrested as the estranged wife of a former Fort Hood soldier. She was in custody in the Bell County Jail awaiting the filing of charges. Her name was not immediately released. The arrest and the suicide were announced as the Texas Rangers, the Army CID and other agencies continue to process the scene near the Leon River in Bell County, Texas, where partial human remains were found on Tuesday. The Armed Forces Medical Examiner Service is assisting the Southwestern Institute of Forensic Sciences in Dallas with dental x-rays and DNA analysis. As they awaited the identification of the remains, Private Guillen's family members gathered with their lawyer, Natalie Kawam, in Washington on Wednesday to demand a congressional investigation into her disappearance. As you know, it is not confirmed yet whether it is my sister or not, Mayra Guillen, one of the Private Guillen sisters, said at a news conference in front of the United States Navy Memorial. At this point, everything points to it. Private Guillen was last seen wearing a black t-shirt and purple fitness-type pants in the parking lot of the Regimental Engineer Squadron headquarters at Fort Hood between 11:30 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. on April 22nd. Her car keys, barracks room key, identification, and wallet were found in the army room, where she had been at work repairing small arms and artillery. Since she disappeared, more than 500 soldiers have searched for Private Guillen in buildings, barracks, fields, training areas, lakes, and trails at Fort Hood, according to base officials. We have made significant progress in this tragic situation and are doing everything possible to get to the truth and bring answers to the family of PFC Vanessa Guillen, the Army CID said in a statement on Wednesday. Ms. Kawam, the lawyer of Private Guillen's family, said in Washington on Wednesday that her disappearance and presumed death should never have happened. And we will never know what happened ever until we get a congressional investigation, she said, describing Private Guillen as a beautiful young soldier. And I concur. Ms. Kawam also called her legislation in Private Guillen's name for better protocols, such as allowing members of the military to report sexual harassment and assault through a third party rather than having to do so through the chain of command. We need legislation so this never happens again, she said. Officials at Fort Hood said last month that they had appointed an investigating team to look into allegations from Private Guillen's family that she had been sexually harassed before she disappeared. Officials have not disclosed details of those allegations. She deserves respect. She deserves to be heard, Lupe Guillen, another sister, said. If this can happen to my sister, it can happen to anyone else. Christopher Gray, a spokesman for the Army CID, said on Wednesday that there is still a lot of investigative work to be done, and we ask for the public and media's patience. He added there are obviously pieces of information and evidence that cannot be shared with the public during an active criminal investigation. And that is the said information coming out of Texas, you guys. Verification for the storyline is the New York Times. So, at the moment, this story was updated after 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is 11:40 here, East Tennessee. An arrest has been made A second suspect killed himself on Tuesday, and a woman has been taken into custody in connection with the disappearance of a Fort Hood soldier. Um, and it says a second suspect, identified only as a soldier, took his own life in Killeen, Texas on Tuesday. So we have a dead soldier whose name has not been released, who took his own life, and then there was a woman taken into custody in Miss Williams' disappearance. And the soldier is a junior soldier, and they will not release his name until notification to his family. Make sure I get everything. This is crazy here. And it says, the Army described the woman who was arrested as the estranged wife of a former Fort Hood soldier. So what the hell are we talking about here? So what are we saying? The guy who murdered her was a former soldier? Well, if he was a former soldier, how would he be on the base to lure her off the base? I'm very confused at this. So I best wait before I jump the gun and make any assumptions about this storyline, because this is really wicked and crazy. But the fact that we have two people involved in this case, and one just took their own life yesterday, says a lot. And I know I had saw an article yesterday when I was reading about this storyline, that there was a guy who they were assuming may have had involvement. And I got a funny feeling that guy whose picture I saw, who was a soldier, it said, is probably this guy who killed himself. But this article is stating the guy that they believe to be involved is a former soldier. And the woman in custody was the estranged wife of the soldier. Sorry, bad English. Oh, mercy. Oh, it just goes on and on. So naturally, when I brought you this story yesterday pertaining to this young lady disappearing, and then there have been remains found, but of course not been identified to belong to Miss Williams. It was also mentioned in the article that there had been some disappearances of other soldiers. And of course, I was reading all type of crazy stuff on social media today, YouTube, where people were trying to put a connection to naturally those missing people, deceased soldier. But I don't know if these people had anything to do with these other missing dead soldiers, because people were thinking it was a deranged killer on the loose. But nonetheless, this is still a sad and tragic situation for a woman to be in a place that she should feel safe, have the camaraderie of other soldiers and superiors, to only have her belongings still found on the base, but yet she's nowhere to be found. And how in the hell did someone, plural, get her away from that base to where she would leave her key ID? You understand what I'm saying? Why would she leave without those said things, knowing she'd have to be able to return to the base and use the ID and key to get back on the base and get back in her room? This is a puzzling story, and I am looking forward to getting the 411, honey, from this heathen that has been arrested, this female. I surely can't wait to see what she has to say, and I really hope that she tells the truth about what transpired with this young lady's disappearance, and if indeed her remains are the ones that were found, but not yet identified. Just hope this lady tells the truth, because this family is needing closure, and naturally the town and the military needs closure, so they can put to rest any other crazy, odd scenarios pertaining to other deceased and missing soldiers at Fort Hood. Oh my goodness. All that's going on in the world, COVID, people unemployed, not working, people feeling some type of way, acting out, obviously locked up, cooped up, or just crazy nonetheless. Before COVID, you would think people would try to be a little more kind, a little more nice to people, knowing that we're in a desolate times with the economy being so fragile. But you see, people don't care. And like I said, We are all human. We all have bad days. But this violence in this world, I'm going to say this country, this world is out of control. And people have got to learn how to cope. Like I said, we all have bad days. We all have horrible thoughts that we shouldn't have. But harming others is not the way to go. And I'm going to say that. And I will work on it myself. Because we are all indeed in need of work. Tightening up. But murdering someone is not the way. Why in the world would you want to give up your freedom to murder someone? It can't be that serious. Seriously. And I'm saying that just from something I had learned that happened last week locally. Some people being shot at, and luckily no one died. But a young man has decided to give up his own freedom now over some personal issue. I don't know. Streets talk. What's the truth? Don't know. But the point is, did you have to take that route? Because now, with facing several murder charges, attempted first degree, 4 attempted first degree murder charges, you can't even talk your way out of that. You could take a plea, of course, be your best bet, but you won't be coming out of that prison. And that's the sad thing. But he made that choice for whatever reason. And sometimes it's not best to judge why people do the things they do, but if you've lived a certain type of lifestyle that got you in prison in the first place, you get out, God grants you freedom, you should try to appreciate the freedom and maybe choose a better way of living so you don't end up back in prison. And that's what I don't understand. How a person could leave prison and then get themselves back in there on worse charges that they on the second round. And you may never come out of there, because once you've been charged with 4 first-degree attempted murder charges, who's going to let you walk the street after that? Just saying. Maybe the grace of God, 12 members will be kind. But just saying, it's a hell of a gamble to take. Just a thought. Something I'm just giving you all some little personal example of how things can jump out of control and you don't think things through. You're angry for whatever reason, and you could actually be in the wrong. You could actually be in the right, but everything's about perception. But the thing is, once you pop off, no matter what it is, what it's about, you can't go back. You can't take it back. And you sure as hell can't bring a life back. So that's for everybody. A little message today. Think before you act. God bless all of you. Thanks for joining me. Hello, Karen. Hope you're well. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me on this wonderful, warm. I need this warm and hot 10. Very sticky from rain. But thanks for joining me. Like, share, subscribe. Drop your comments below. And until the next video, this is Everyday Shenanigans. Prayers to the William family. Amen. And prayers to everyone in this country, abroad, those dealing with COVID, uncertainty right now, safety, depression, whatever it is you're going through. Pray about it. Just pray about it. Turn it over. God will work it out. I'm gone. See you guys later. Bye-bye.